Hi, everyone. It is Kitty from Dragonmount, and I am here live. Weirdly, I'm in Los Angeles, and Sharon Gilham is all the way in Prague. So we're in vastly different time zones. But here, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, Kitty. Sharon Gilham here, costume designer from the Wheel of Time. And I am actually in France, not in Prague, but same thing. For Americans, I guess it's all the same. It's over there.
Okay, my apologies. I did think that you were in Prague. However, at least it's the same time zone. But at least you will be going to Prague soon because of the.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're doing a huge exhibition in Prague in November of the Wheel of Time costumes from the 14th of November to the 5th of December. And we're going to be showing over 80 of the costumes in a kind of sort of interactive space. And they're going to be grouped according to cultures or themes or whatever. There's going to be a soundtrack. You're going to be sort of guided through this space and with an amazing finishing moment. So it's very exciting. And it's full on. There's loads of things to do. The promotion is massive, called Fashion and Fantasy.
Yes. And
Um,
Dragmount is going to be there. Unfortunately, not
yeah,
me, but at least we will be there. And I did have the pleasure of seeing some of your amazing work back in June at WatCon. But
yeah.
speaking of the cultures of the Wheel of Time, let's talk about the veils of Tanchico. Now, I'm sure you got a little prompt, a little summary about what Terabon and Tanchico in specific and what was written in the books, but what was the process behind the veils? How did you get to where they ended up?
Yeah, so yes, I did. As always, I always read the text, the book references first. That's the my number one priority. And so I kind of I got that information, and then everything I receive from Robert Jordan, I have to kind of find a way of making it work in the our world, in the Wheel of Time world, and to make sure, especially with something like the veils, that there wasn't some kind of weird cultural appropriation that felt inappropriate. Because veils can be bridal veils and they can be burqas. So that's like, you have to find a place that's interesting and doesn't and non-judgmental, I suppose. And I did start with all these bridal veil images and so on, and I just thought, this is cheesy, and this is going to look on the men, it's just going to look stupid, and Tanchico, as everybody knows, is a dark and sinister place, so they need to reflect that. And everybody is going to be wearing one, so if it was just something hanging over the face, it wouldn't be very interesting and it wouldn't feel very real as a culture. It wouldn't feel very individual. I there's during my reference process, I was coming across all these images from like a fashion designer called Maison Margiela, who did these kind of jeweled face mask things. And also there's on Instagram there's someone called Damsel Frau who makes these really amazing masks as well that are kind of um, sort of part ceremonial, part decorative, part kind of just weird sort of thing. I don't know, Eastern Europe or something. Anyway, all these things were going around in my head, and I bought all these different fabrics, and I got our buyer, Lenka, to go out and buy some transparent fabrics because the things that were kind of coming to me were this idea of distorting the face with a fabric on top of it. And instead of just having something hanging, I wanted to have something that kind of went around the face and pulled back. You could wear at the back of your head so that it feels like something that people can make themselves. or they could have made in a really decorative way. And so Lenka went away and she came back with these fabrics. And she also bought some, I asked her to buy some that had texture on them. And it was when then she had to stand there and I photographed her with these bits of fabric on her head in the corridor. And it was when she started to put on the ones that had the texture and it's really started to distort the features underneath, then I knew that it was going to be something really interesting because I could imagine if it's a dark set, if Nynaeve and Elaine and Matt are walking around these streets and they see that in the shadows they see these distorted faces. But when the people come out, they're actually just wearing a veil or a veil, we're calling it. It's kind of mask. That it would have that impact.
How did you first start with fabric or did you start with sketches first? Because I know we have a couple of photos from you. We have one of a profile of a face that looks like figuring out how to do the wrapping. Was that later on in the process?
No, I do tend to do everything, a lot of things sort of on a mannequin or on a head, some kind of like, you can get these head blocks that you use to make hats with. So I normally do it like that because often it's quicker and you can do a lot of playing and you can get a lot further if you do things there and then and you can photograph it because also obviously everything that I'm doing is going to be on camera. And so it's even a photograph can tell you if it's working or not. So no, that those pictures of the profile of that's Lenka. That was actually, can you just stand here and can we just have a go with all? And we had a pile of fabrics on the table and we just put them on and photographed them. And she patiently stood there and let us do.
Who whose veil did you create first?
Oh, I think it must have been the groom for the wedding. Or that when Leandrin comes into the child bride wedding, that groom, because he was like the first person that we did a fitting for properly for Tanchico. And I wanted his veil to have some beading on it. And I had, so we bought these textured fabrics, and I also had some fabrics that I brought with me that had beading on them that were transparent but with beading, like the one that Matt wears. So these fabrics also came into the mix. So they were sort of like the higher classes of Tanchico, or the prostitutes had the ones with beads, or that were a more sophisticated type of veil. And then the lower classes were the ones where we either used the fabric with the texture on it, or then I remember, and I can't remember who the designer is, but there was another or an artist who did some masks or some, I'm still calling them veils, where they'd kind of painted like features on top of the fabric, but in the wrong place. Or like they'd done exaggerated lipstick on top of this like
I
transparent
like
fabric.
that.
And and so I said to Haley, who is my crowd supervisor, amazing woman, Haley McCready, um, I said to her, just take some crayons or some paint and put these things on people's faces and then just sort of roughly draw in, scribble in the eye and put the mouth over here and the nose in the wrong place. And a bit
I was
Picasso-like.
just gonna say it sounds very Picasso.
Yeah. And so they did that as well. So we did that as well as another option, so that some of them were just the textile, some of it was beaded and beautiful, some of it was just really going for that distorted, weird, yeah, cubist, strange, disfigured look. But it's the thing about it, it was just so instant. And it really helped to create the costume and make it believable for that culture, for Tanchico.
So out of the main characters that you had to create veils for, we have Nynaeve, which we have the photos of, we have Elaine, and we have Matt. Walk us through Nynaeve.
Nynaeve, okay, so I mean, with Nynaeve, her whole costume was she's got to look, you know, fit into Tanchico somehow. And but and the thing about Tanchico is everybody's really undressed and sort of, semi dressed, and you can see their bodies through and everything and transparency. And Nynaeve would just
That is
freak
not her.
out. Idea. So I said, how about if we just cut out the shoulders? Because even that, seeing her shoulders, yes, is like incredibly painful for her and awkward. So that was her costume. And then the veil was, again, it's like, I just imagined, like I do, that they went to a shop or they went somewhere and they found a series of veils in a shop and they each chose one according to their favorites, whatever. And Nynaeve just went for the most demure thing and the smallest and the least obvious and the kind of, the most indiscreet, most discreet, sorry, version of a veil.
So then the mid would be Elaine's.
Yeah, so Elaine, I at the beginning of season three, with the costumes for all of the hero characters, the young heroes, Rafe had said to me, "Oh, can you just do something iconic for season three?" For
Just quickly iconic.
just throw something together. So this is a bit of a like sidebar, but anyway, I decided that I thought it would be good. Well, first of all, I was like, oh God, what the hell do I start with that? And then I thought, well, if these young people were in our world now, where would they go shopping? And so I thought that Elaine would go to a vintage store, which is
Yes.
why her costume at the beginning of season three looks a bit vintage, a bit 70s. So then I kind of carried that idea on through this into Tanchico, and the veil that she's wearing is actually a very, very old piece of organza with these metal sequins on it that I have had for years, like 30 years, just in my stuff. And I thought that the vintageness and the beauty and the fact that it has these little sequins on it that kind of indicate like Elaine goes for, she's royalty. She goes for, this sort of something that um, has this reference to history and the regal kind of feel. So that was hers.
So
And
then Matt.
okay, so Matt was where I thought this was in the books, but apparently it isn't. But, Raimi, who wrote that episode, had written into the script, which I therefore thought was text taken from the books, that the larger number of beads or sequins or decoration on a veil meant that person was more available for sex. And so I thought it'd be really funny because Matt being Matt, that he would choose the one someone told him that in the street and he was like, "Oh, yeah, bring it on. I'm gonna have the one that's got the
Dripping. He was dripping.
exactly." So that fabric is beaded, but also we added the beading that went around here, like on a trim, so that we just dialed it all up. And of course, Donal just completely went for it, and he loved it.
I had never pictured crop tops in the Wheel of Time, but now to me it's canon because of him. Him and
Yeah.
his dripping, like it's slinky, but I think it was perfect.
Thanks.
Now, you said you had that fabric for 30 years? Unrelated question. How big is your fabric stash?
I thought you were going to say, "How old are you?"
Oh, huh. Like I am a little evil, but not in that direction.
How big is my fabric stock? Oh God, I have to keep reducing it. It's very hard to get, everybody has something that they find it difficult to get rid of that they stock in their houses. And fabric is one of them in mine. If I have to just keep refining it and refining it because every job I do, I get more fabric. I bring more fabric back, and I've got a garage full of boxes from that I still haven't unpacked. And I've got a loft full of fabrics. And, like in the Wheel of Time, I was really lucky to go to some amazing countries. We went to India, we went to Morocco, and we went to South Africa. And every time you go somewhere like that, you buy beautiful things and you buy stock for the show that you don't necessarily use. So I'm like, I'm going to have that. So it's big-ish. It's not massive. It's not like a warehouse. It's not like the warehouse in Prague, but yeah, there's a lot of it.
I guess final question, back to the veils. What veil would you create for yourself? How much beading would you have? Oh, that's a very personal question. You do not have to answer that. See, we just went evil.
Well, the thing is that as you may have noticed, I really love decoration. I find it quite hard not to cover things in decorative elements. So I probably would. I probably would put quite a lot of beading on it, but I would love to. I'd love to source a beautiful bit of vintage fabric like the one that Elaine had, actually, and use that. Give it another life. That's probably what I would do.
I mean, you've got the stash. I think you can make it happen. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions about the Tanchico veils. You were absolutely amazing. We loved seeing all of your work. And if anyone out there can make it to Prague in November to see the show, the exhibition, please go. It would be worth
And
every
also,
penny.
I mean, if you can't, I am angling. I have spoken to the grown-ups, the big people, about this exhibition touring, and if we can make this a success, then they are seriously thinking about it. So it would come to the States. It would go elsewhere.
I'm just
It
saying, Los Angeles is a great place for fashion.
So yeah. But Keeper, you did a lovely little thing about the charity tickets as well. So
Yes.
don't forget that because that helps us too.
Yes, please. If you cannot go yourself, please, there's an option to buy a ticket for somebody else that would not be able to go. It is a charity ticket. All right. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Lovely to see you, Kitty.
Lovely to see you too.
As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit that thumbs up button, or leave a comment below. A special thank you to our show sponsor, Tor Books, and to all of our amazing Patreon supporters. Now, if you're looking for even more insights into the Wheel of Time and some exclusive content, consider becoming a Patreon supporter yourself. We've revamped our Patreon. Go take a look. Also, make sure to sign the SaveWatt.com petition and follow Dragonmount on social media for all of the latest updates. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kitty. Bye-bye.